Yo, what's up? It's your boy Currency 365. Hope you guys are doing well. Legends never die, they stay in our hearts. If you want to support us, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also you can come down here and hit the join button under the video or in our channel section. And you can also join our Patreon, patreon.com/currency365. And we also have Cash App and also PayPal for supports if you want to sow some seeds. Peace out. God bless. Enjoy the video and keep the movement going. Legends. Bye.
Sometimes I have people who message me who are quite angry that I don't go through my videos and break it down into sections so they can determine what section they want to watch. And this is going to get into wealth transfer. Just bear with me because this does matter. As soon as I go and I bookmark or I chop them into sections where people can just go and watch one part, God just takes all the life out of the video, at least in this season. And I asked him why, and he said because he wants people who are hungry to dig, and there's always, like, there's a message here, and it all goes together, and it's kind of like, you know, if you break it down into pieces, the sum of the whole is greater than the pieces. So sometimes I have to post kind of more general sounding videos to drop the nuggets into, because God knows the ones who are supposed to find them will actually have the capacity to go through them, and it just resonates, right? And I'm tired of holding back, and I'm tired of trying to just put something out that I think, you know, well, okay, well, people watch this. It just needs to be authentic. Not that I haven't been authentic. I just need to do it the way I need to do it. And the videos and messages will be better because of that. So there's been a real urgency in my spirit in terms of just shifting. I've never been an if the wealth transfer happens person. It's when for me. And I had this revelation about 6 months ago that just so many were not remotely prepared, because they're in this mindset of if it's going to happen. They're still trying to figure out if they believe and if it's going to happen. And God told me years ago, God told me years ago that he was going to separate people out from this. And I didn't understand how, because I'm like, well, how are you going to convince people to sell, you know, things that it didn't make sense to me. And now I understand. God is going to separate people out because you're going to have people that just are not going to prepare because they're still trying to decide if this is going to happen, right? So as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you're trying to decide if you believe this is going to happen or not, you're going to prepare accordingly. So you're going to be half-hearted, right? You're going to be essentially serving mammon because you're beholden to mammon, because you're sitting there saying, well, if I have some sort of guarantee, right, where I know that I'm going to get rich, then I'll put the time in. But if I'm not, it's not worth my time. And it's like, well, okay, then you don't really believe. As a man thinketh, so is he. I believe that whatever the means, okay. Actually, let's boil this down further. This boils down to, he who is faithful with little will be faithful with much. And there are so many that are not being faithful with little because they just think they need more. That's not how the verse works. He who is faithful with little will be faithful with much. What are you doing with what you have? Well, Matt, I don't have enough money. That's not even what I'm talking about. What are you doing with the skills and the gifts that God has given you? Okay, like for me, for years I was a people pleaser, right? I just wanted people to like me. And I would hold things back prophetically or just not release because I was so insecure, and I just I didn't want to upset or offend people, or I was just not strong enough to stand on my own. So when I had the dream about 45 in 2013, and I was telling people in my church, this is for sure going to happen. And I got pulled aside by my leadership and said, you know, he's going to lose the election. He can't win. This is 2016. And you need to give it up. And then the following week, so that was 2 weeks before the election. And the following week, I was in a prayer meeting, November 1st. It was Wednesday. I remember this. And I'm sitting in the prayer meeting, and God said, he's already won the election. Just know that you heard right. And that was a galvanizing moment for me. Sometimes we ask God, like, why do these things happen? And it's, well, because you need to be strengthened, or you need to have the resolve to stand on your own. And now I understand that I hear things that other people may not hear. And it needs to be okay that you hear something that nobody else hears. That doesn't make it untrue. And it's like you need to be able to check with God and be secure in that. When I look at this, I have always seen that America is going to be restored. There's not a doubt in me. I'm not sitting here, oh, well, I don't know, maybe the world, it's not time for the world to end. Like, this is not the end. This is a setup. Because in my head, I've always thought, okay, the perfect situation for the wealth transfer would be to have a situation where all the markets were coming down. Like, we're in that. I don't know if people can see that. I understand it looks like there's relief on inflation, and I'm not going to get into, you know, if I think it's over. Like, I just think markets have room to come down more. And I think that is going to play to favor for people that are positioned in the wealth transfer. Because if prices are lower, we can buy more assets. And I absolutely wholeheartedly, and this is not financial or investment advice. I'm not suggesting anyone ever buy or sell or invest anything. This is my opinion only. I believe, as somebody who's positioned myself to expect a wealth transfer, that it makes sense that I can buy assets when they're really low and ride them until they go back up. And I just believe for those opportunities to come. Well, how are they going to come and when do they come? I don't know, and that's the great thing. And I didn't see this before. When we don't understand the how, it invites us into an opportunity to then partner with God and walk with Him and say, I trust you. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. So when we're in a situation where it's like, I don't know how this is going to happen, or I don't understand, or I don't know how this is going to play out, like, you're not saying, like, I don't know if God's going to move in this in me. If God is going to move in this for me or not. Okay, you're not saying that. What you're actually saying is, I don't know how God's going to come through for me, but I know that He is. I have faith. So I have faith and it pleases God. So when these situations are popping up where it's like, well, okay, I don't know how God's going to work this out. Great. He's invited you into an opportunity to trust Him, to have faith, and it pleases Him when we have faith. There's all kinds of things in my life right now. I haven't the foggiest clue where the money's going to come from, or how God's going to provide, or what He's going to do. But what am I doing? Well, okay, so I went and created my group, and I agonized about that, because I'm like, I don't know if this is anything, like, is anybody going to resonate with this? And every person that joins my group, and they watch the past recordings from the videos, or get on the calls, or whatever the case is, the message I get every time is, this just resonates. And if I wouldn't have created the group, I would have been withholding and robbing from people who are being blessed by what I'm releasing. So I'm throwing this out to the people that are watching this. What do you have that you're withholding that could be blessing others? This goes into the he who is faithful with little will be faithful with much. It's not just our money. Like, most of us have sucked at managing our money. So we need to be better at that. But it's also like, okay, well, what are you doing with the gifts and skills and potential that God has put in you? Are you doing anything with it? No, I need more money first. That's a lie. God has given us the ability to create wealth. He's given us the power to create wealth. You've been given capacity to create. It could be, you know, millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars or more worth of wealth. Right? I am stepping very much into who I believe I'm called to be, which is partly a prophet, partly a consultant, partly it's not a life coach. I'm a coach that helps people to find their potential and realize their potential and walk in that. Because most people have not dared to dream for so long that they've forgotten what it's like. So if you look at things from this perspective, is God going to restore America? I absolutely believe that he will. And I believe those opportunities are coming. I believe the wealth transfer is going to happen. God can use whatever vehicle he wants. But if you're not being faithful with little, you're not going to be faithful with much. So this is how God is separating out right now. People are needing to step up and get better. In a video a couple weeks ago, I had said the wealth transfer hasn't happened because we're just not good enough. What I was saying is that our skills are not at a point where they're good enough for God to pour that money out to us on the whole, right? Our finance skills can be so much better. Are you the best in your business? And if you're not, why? Like, what is the reason? What's holding you back? If you're not one of the tops in your company, why? Like, you're gifted, you're skilled, why are you holding back? We're supposed to run the race as in a manner to win it. But so many are running it just to, like, survive. You have to get rid of survival mode. I watched this video from this Jewish guy today. Just fascinating. And right at the beginning of the video, he's talking about, like, lucrative businesses, having lucrative businesses that generate a lot of money. And I'm like, that is so, like, one of the declarations that I need to add, because we plan and we think in survival mode. It's like, well, I just want to have a job. And it's like, well, okay, Charlie, should you be asking for 8 streams of income instead of just a job? Like, are we thinking too small? Is it time to think and expand bigger, to believe for more, to ask for more, to start pulling on more? And it's like, we're so terrified because we're so scared to be disappointed. And it's like, well, no, God hasn't poured this out to you yet because you can't manage the $200,000 a year you make now. You're not using anything God's given you. You haven't been a good steward of the little, so you're not going to be a good steward of the big. It's a biblical principle. He who is faithful with little will be faithful with much. I hear about people in other videos who are, like, disenchanted or frustrated or upset, and it's like, okay, like, and this is the analogy I keep going back to. Let's say you're 18 again, and you're working in a restaurant, okay? And you think, well, I should be an engineer and I should be making like this much money, or somebody should hire me. And it's like, okay, but if you suck at the job that you have, why is somebody going to give you a better job? We've all had this where we've gone into places like a restaurant or something, and we've had this phenomenal experience with somebody who has clearly gone above and beyond, has done really well, like they're being faithful with their little. And I sit there and I'm like, when I come across these people, I'm like, I would hire you in a heartbeat if I had a company that I could hire you to. Because you're being faithful with little, it makes me understand that if I hired me, you would bring that level of excellence into my company too, and I want that. That's why I made my last video, the season of the unqualified. It's like, we're going to get beyond where people just look at the qualifications. And obviously, like, you know, if you're looking for a doctor, like, you need somebody who's trained in medicine. I get all that, okay? But for the most part, I think there's so many opportunities that can be filled with people that have capacity and life experience and just carry that capacity to do that job better than the person that's qualified for it. Like, there's going to be lots of these where people are like, what the hell are these people doing? Well, they're hiring the person that has the capacity for the job, that has the calling for the job. You have to look beyond the worldly qualifications and understand that there's people who are not qualified, who are much better fits to run your company or organization or run your teams or whatever, because they've been given that measure. So I really want to encourage people in this. Like, do something with what you have. Stop acting as a victim. God didn't say, you know, well, you're a victim and that's too bad, you know, I'll come and rescue you one day. The Bible says that we're supposed to be more than overcomers. So we're not only supposed to overcome, we're supposed to do more than that, like another level. And yet people are like, oh yeah, no, everything sucks and there's nothing I can do about it. And it's like, hello, you're not a victim. right? That's one of the mindsets that absolutely needs to shatter. You are not a victim. You are more than an overcomer. You're not even just an overcomer. You're more than an overcomer. And for some of you, you know that you need more of this. Like, this resonates, but you need more. You can join my Patreon group, and we have calls most Thursday nights. We have calls, and we talk about a lot of this stuff and just the wisdom that comes out of this group. It's a concept from the richest man in Babylon. He took his friends, and they got together, and they just had open discussions about life, about finances, about different things, and they learned from each other. But I have a vision beyond the wealth transfer for this group. And for people who need even more of this, I offer one-on-one coaching as well. Because there's too many people that are just like stuck in the mud, or just, they're stuck. You need an interruption. You need something that is unfamiliar to come in and cause an interruption, to change how you think, to change how you see things, to change how you perceive things. And that goes into the whole danger of familiarity thing, but it's like, for people who are interested in coaching, there's an email address down below in the description. You can email me there to inquire about coaching. I only have so many spots every week, and I intend to be very full and very busy with coaching, but it takes a certain capacity. So I'm only taking so many people every week, so only so many appointments a month. So like, the spaces are limited. My group, really, we could have an unlimited group. I think it's going to be a group of at least 300. But that link is down below as well. Like, we need to take action. We need to do something. And even for people who are watching this, who are parts of different groups, is there something you could do within your wealth transfer community to be more intentional and more effective? I think there are. And I would love to stir up other groups to be more intentional in making more of an effort to actually focus on getting ready instead of wondering if this is going to happen. We get one shot at this. Okay, this wealth transfer, well, it may have various phases, is coming one time on this scale. So, like, should we not be prepared and be ready? I would think so. Anyways, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. If this resonates, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up so I can show up in your feed more and deliver more of this.